Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming out today. Like so many of you, yesterday I was heartbroken and shaken by the events that happened here at the Brass Mill Center. This is a place where families shop, where our teens meet up after school, where people go to enjoy a normal day, and that sense of normality was shattered here yesterday. I want to thank the folks who offered their support. Governor Lamont was on the phone with me right after this happened. Congresswoman Hayes had called to offer help. Commissioner Higgins was right here with the state police to offer a great deal of assistance as well. So thank you to all of them for their continued support. Our thoughts, of course, are first and foremost with the victims and the individuals who were injured in this senseless violence. I'm happy to be able to report that 3 of the 5 victims are out of the hospital. 2 remain in the hospital here in Waterbury, but they're in stable condition. And the most seriously injured was a young lady who was hit in the spine, but she does now have some feeling in her extremities, and she's going to be doing some rehab. So hopefully she will not find herself paralyzed. We'll see how that develops. We also, feel for those who were here, the shoppers, the witnesses, the folks who work in the mall. It was a very traumatic experience for them as well. To the police department, to our fire department, to all of our first responders, I want to say it was a job well done. They were here within minutes. They were rushing inside before the building was secured, the police officers and state troopers who were here, but also our firemen and our EMTs and our ambulance personnel as well. They went in without any concern for their own danger, were able to get the 5 victims out, and I am sure that as a result of their work yesterday, lives were saved here as well. I also want to acknowledge and thank the hospital staff at both St. Mary's and Waterbury Hospital. 5 traumatic cases going between those 2 hospitals, and they did a terrific job of patching people up and obviously keeping them well, with 3 of them already on their way home. To the Brass people here who worked at the Brass Mall, they were helpful as well. They guided people out. They helped keep things calm here. People were hidden and were protected, so I want to thank them for what they did. This is not part of what their normal day would be like, and yet they all did a terrific job as well. Later this morning, we are going to be meeting with Stacy Mendyka, the Chief Spagnola, and I, to talk about enhanced safety here at the mall and things that we can do to be sure people feel safe. This was a one-off incident. The mall is safe, the city is safe, but we do feel that it's important that we have these conversations about what we can do to make people feel safe. I would encourage people to come back to the mall. This was, as I said, a one-off incident. It was a random act of violence. It was not a random act of violence. It was an effect. 2 young men who knew each other, had a history and a past. They got into a beef here. There were 4 young women with the victim, and so the perpetrator, when he was called out, instead of having what would have at one time been a fist fight, but because he was armed, came out with a pistol, shot the guy he was having a problem with, and the 4 women who were with him as well. And those are the 5 victims. So at this point, he is in custody, and the chief will be able to give you some more information about that in a couple of minutes. But he is in custody, so he is no longer loose. The mall has been searched and secured, and there's nothing to worry about here. As a city, obviously we are very shaken to have this happen here in Waterbury, but we're not broken. This is a strong city, and we are very much standing together in times of crisis. We support and we care for one another, and we are going to continue moving forward as a city. So to every resident of the city, please know that we're all here for you. We're working hard, we're listening, and we're committed to keeping Waterbury safe and strong. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Spagnola, who can tell you a little bit more about what's actually happening. Thank you, Chief.
Good morning, everyone. And as the mayor said, thank you to all the state delegation, the governor, especially the state police, Commissioner Higgins and Colonel Loftman for their strong support. They were here within minutes yesterday, as well as all our federal law enforcement partners as well. And our state's attorney's office, our state's attorney Maureen Platt, had a contingent of inspectors and attorneys on scene to assist us. It was a chaotic scene when we first got here. First responding officers found 5 people that were wounded by gunfire. They weren't quite sure if there was an active shooter still on scene. They did a tremendous amount of work in a short period of time. It was very accurate work, very diligent work, and we were able to identify who the shooter was and that the shooter had left the property. Throughout the evening and through a variety of investigative techniques, which included the latest technology and some forensic technology that we have the capability of using, we were able to identify a suspect and ultimately establish probable cause and make an arrest of that suspect. That party is Taewan Washington. He's 19 years old. He lives here in the city of Waterbury. He is currently in custody, being held on a $2 million bond, charged with 5 counts of assault first degree and a number of weapons violation charges. He will be presented in court probably within the next hour or so. The investigation continues on with interviews with witnesses and folks that were at the scene. And as the mayor said, you know, the community, the shoppers, the workers here at the mall really came together. People really went with their instincts. They were able to shelter in place. They were very cooperative in assisting with law enforcement's efforts to make the scene safe. It took us quite a bit of time because obviously it's a very large area. We wanted to make sure that we left no stone unturned. And I commend all the police officers, especially the Waterbury police officers that were here on scene yesterday, for a great job done. I'll turn it over to Commissioner Higgins now.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everyone. Within minutes, the state's largest police force, the Connecticut State Police, was on scene assisting the Waterbury Police Department. That collaboration and cooperation isn't just something that happens in emergencies. That is something that happens regularly here in the city of Waterbury between the state and local and federal law enforcement officials. As the mayor said, yesterday was not an ordinary day, but today we're here to stand with the Waterbury Police Department, the mayor, the delegation, and the entire Waterbury community to make sure people know that the Waterbury Mall is safe. We're here not just to support them in their time right now, but in the future as we go forward. There's a lot that's going on right now. I commend the Waterbury Police Department, their investigators, for working through the night onto this morning. The chief has shared that they have made an arrest. That individual will be presented in court momentarily, and that's a good thing. This was a targeted incident. But gun violence isn't something that we will ever accept. It is not okay to come to a mall and then find yourself a victim of gun violence. It is not okay for someone to come here to work, okay, and find themselves hiding, sheltering in place. Thankfully, the first responders, the police, the fire, everyone who responded, even those who came to work in the mall that day that found themselves having to assist, we commend them for their efforts and we thank them. I'm going to turn it over right now to Congresswoman Johanna Hayes. Congresswoman.
Thank you, and thank you to Mayor Kornarewski and Chief Spagnola. This is something where it's easy for people to say it's Waterbury, but as we just heard, gun violence is everywhere. No community is off limits, no income bracket, no demographic is safe from the scourge of gun violence. When I saw this yesterday and began to hear the names of the victims and the shooter, these are all people that I know. These are people from this community. We have to do better. Tonight, Grace Baptist Church is opening their doors for a prayer of healing and for the community to come together to pursue solutions. But the irony is that yesterday, literally yesterday in the paper, I was reading that the police department was looking for funds to for grants to prevent gun violence in the city, for ways to work with neighborhood youth, for ways to address this very issue, and not even 12 hours later, we have 5 people injured here at the mall. It seems like no place in our community is safe. I plan to continue to work with the mayor, with the police department, to pursue any federal avenues that we can to get them the funds for those types of programs, because this community is worth saving, and our kids are worth protecting. And making sure that this doesn't happen again, and that our mall is safe, and that people feel safe, shoppers and the people who work here and families all feel safe in this community is something that I am deeply committed to, because again, Waterbury is just like every other community, and nobody is off limits, and everybody should be committed to making sure that we end this epidemic of gun violence. Thank you.
And just before I introduce the governor, I also want to acknowledge our state delegation this year. Senator Joan Hartley is with us, Representative Reyes, Representative Napoli, Representative DiGio Von Carlo. They have also been hugely supportive of the city as well, not just now, but always in trying to work to prevent these. And the president of our local NAACP, Wendy Tyson-Woods, is here with us today. She's also a strong partner with the city in trying to address the issues that are causing the violence that we're seeing among young people. So, and with that, I would like to introduce Governor
very strong. This is why we're here today. This is a great city, and it's a city that is safe and getting safer. I want to say this was a terrible tragedy. Hearts and prayers go out to those that were hit hard. I think they're all going to be okay. Fingers crossed. Prayers out there. That's in part because the Waterbury police were here in 3 minutes. That's in part because we got the ambulances there right down to these local churches, doing everything we could. But this type of crime is just shocking to me. You know, the chief said a lot of the crime maybe is one-off, but they know each other. These are not random acts of violence. This started out with some sort of a beef, some sort of an argument. And rather than ending up with a fisticuff, somebody pulls out a semi-automatic and shoots 7 rounds and you know, badly wounds 5 people. Like that, just like that. And you know, as Johanna said, we got to do everything we can in the community to make sure we head this off, find out where these sources of friction might be. But I really want to say, on behalf of the people of Waterbury, we're so proud you're here. And don't let these guys scare you. I want you back here in this mall. It's going to be open very soon. And what it means to this community to say we're back on our feet and able to get by this. And Chief, thanks again to you and the state police for responding to this as quickly and promptly as you did. It could have been worse, but it wasn't thanks to you. Thanks, everybody.